Welcome to our presentation of the French Connection. We hope you enjoy it. Our 2019 French Connection trip will be to Tours and Paris, France. It will consist of 6 nights, 5 days in Tours, seeing the sights in the Loire Valley, and 5 nights, 5 days in Paris. The entire trip is from May 4th to May the 15th. Departure, if leaving from Edmonton, will need to be May the 3rd to have an arrival in Tours on May the 4th. Laura and I are looking at flights that land around 8 a.m. on the 4th in Paris so that we can catch the 11:19 train from Charles de Gaulle Airport directly to Tours. Other options would be to go to Tours from the Montparnasse station, which would require getting from the airport to that station. During our time in the Loire Valley, we'll be staying at Le Grand Hotel, Tours. The Le Grand Hotel in Tours is close to the train station and the main areas of Tours. Rooms come with 2 twin beds or a double, depending on preference. Breakfast is included, and this selection looks wonderful. Rooms at the Grand Hotel are equipped with modern bathrooms. We will be seeing many sights in the Loire Valley: chateaux, gardens, villages, markets, and the French countryside. Tours is the largest city in the center region of France. It is known as the Garden of France because of the many parks located within the city. In the garden of what is now the Musée des Beaux-Arts, there is a large cedar tree that was planted by Napoleon. Tours is famous for its original medieval district called Le Vieux Tours. Its preserved half-timbered buildings are considered quite unique to the city. Place Plumereau and Les Halles offer unique food, wine, and shopping. Rue Nationale in Tours is a pedestrian shopping street. As you can see, it has light rail transit to quickly and easily get from one end to the other. While in the Loire Valley, we'll see Tours, Amboise and its Chateaux, Clos-Luz, Chateau Chamont, Chateau Chenonceau, Chateau Valandre, and Musée des Beaux-Arts. Amboise is a peaceful town and a great place to explore boutique-filled streets. On Sunday there is a fabulous farmers market, one of the biggest in the valley. A great place to find some fresh fruits, veggies, and souvenirs. The chocolate shop in Amboise is one of the oldest in the valley. Amboise is home to Castle Royal, where Francois I invited Leonardo da Vinci to live nearby and who was entertained at the castle, and is also said to have provided inspiration for some of the architectural highlights at Francois' castles. The castle was home to many royals, including King Henry II, Catherine de' Medici, and Mary, Queen of Scots, who was married to Francois II. When you cross the courtyard towards the castle, you pass the place where Charles VIII died in 1498 at 28 years old after hitting his head on a doorframe. Be careful, make sure you duck. On the grounds of the Amboise Chateau, there is also a Gothic chapel where Leonardo da Vinci is buried. Clos-Luz, final home to Leonardo da Vinci. Here you can see his study and a desk he used, as well as many models of his inventions. Chateau Chamont is the second most visited chateau of the Loire Valley. This ancient chateau, originally built at the end of the 10th century, became notorious in the 16th century when it was acquired by Catherine de' Medici, widow of King Henry II in 1560. Look out for the entwined D of Diane de Poitiers, surrounded by bows and quivers, hunting horns, deltas, and crescents of the moon representing Diana, the Roman goddess of hunting. Here you can visit the bedrooms of the 2 great rivals, Catherine de' Medici and Diane de Poitiers, as well as the great Salle de Concile with its Spanish tiled floor. The park is huge, stretching around the chateau and further giving you great views over the River Loire. The park is dotted with various large-scale sculptures, including one which is in fact a huge wooden walkway, offering a panoramic sight of the river. The famous annual festival, the International Festival of Gardens, always runs from April to October. If you're at all interested in garden or garden design, this area is not to be missed as this chateau contains amazing flowers and gardens. This is the area of the grounds at Chateau Chamont that the International Festival of Gardens is situated. Not only a garden area, but an art installation. The most visited chateau of the Loire Valley is Chateau Chenonceau, situated on the river Cher. It is often described as a ladies' chateau, as throughout its history, it is they who have most influenced its design and destiny. It is the only chateau built across a river and has grounds that contain extensive gardens. Construction of this chateau began in 1515. However, in 1535, Francois I took the estate in payment of debts. Henry II gave it to his mistress, Diane de Poitiers, and she added the bridge over the Cher as well as the gardens. When Henri died, the Queen, Catherine de' Medici, forced Diane out of Chenonceau to the Chateau Chamont. Catherine proceeded to build the gallery and grand ballroom for lavish parties on Diane's bridge, which finally gave Chenonceau its now iconic look. The Chateau de Valandry is located southwest of Tours. In 1934, it was designated a historic monument. It also falls within the Loire Valley World Heritage Site. Although the chateau is best known for its French-style formal gardens, there are actually several different areas of gardens here in quite different styles. When you enter the gardens, you first reach the vegetable garden where meticulous lines of vegetables such as beetroot, leeks, and cabbages are planted in patterns within the squares formed by box hedges. The colors are chosen carefully to create a remarkable canvas of color and design and follow a historical tradition of mixing ornamental gardens with food production. Next to the castle, you can see the ornamental gardens, also with extensive box hedges surrounding flowers of various colors. The best view across the gardens is from the raised belvedere next to the ornamental gardens. From the raised position, you see the gardens as more of a pattern than individual plants, which was the original intention. From the belvedere, you can follow a short walk through the woods that also has lovely views across the gardens and the village of Valandry. The water garden at the end of the path includes a pond area and fountains and is a peaceful contrast to the ornamental gardens. Although the main pond is based on the shape of a Louis XV mirror, the gardens are more modern in appearance. Next to here, you can also discover the more informal gardens in the Sun Garden with 3 distinct areas to discover. The Cloud Room with mostly blue and white plants, the Sun Room with orange and yellow flowers, and the Children's Room with apple trees. Next to the Sun Garden, you can explore the maze. On the 10th of May, we will travel by train to Paris for the second half of our French tour. Our home base in Paris will be at Hotel Marigny on Rue Jacob. This hotel has double or twin beds available in the rooms. Breakfast is included in our stay at this hotel, and they have a great looking little patio area. This is situated in the Saint-Germain-des-Prés area. A very lively area with music, nightlife, and great restaurants. While in Paris, we will see some of the main attractions, gardens, museums, and colorful neighborhoods. In Paris, our current plans are to see the Louvre, d'Orsay, Eiffel Tower, Rodin Museum, Musée l'Orangerie, the Arc de Triomphe, the neighborhood of Montmartre and Sacré-Cœur, Notre Dame, and a river canal cruise. A dinner cruise in Paris, 3 hours long, seeing both a canal and the Seine River. This cruise goes down the Saint Martin Canal onto the Seine River, ending at the d'Orsay. The Louvre is the biggest museum in the world. It is so big that it is humanly impossible to see all the museum has to offer in one visit. How long would it take you? Well, if you ever have 100 days to spare, you could probably squeeze in every piece of art, but you could only spend 30 seconds on each piece, and that's if you were there all day, every day. The Louvre is so popular that it welcomes 15,000 visitors per day, and 70% are foreign tourists. In 2014 alone, the Louvre welcomed over 9.3 million visitors, which is the most people a museum has ever welcomed since its opening. The Louvre was not originally a museum. It was a fortress that was built in 1190. In the 16th century, it was turned from a fortress into a royal palace. In 1793, the first Louvre Museum was opened to the public and offered just 537 paintings. The Mona Lisa is undoubtedly one of the most famous pieces of art in the Louvre, with people from all walks of life traveling to the museum to catch a glimpse of the world-famous painting. The Mona Lisa also has its own bodyguards and is protected by bulletproof glass. Today, it is expensive to live in Montmartre, but for a long time it was a working-class neighborhood. An unmissable spot in Montmartre, the Vineyard, the only one left in Paris. Although Montmartre wine is expensive, about 45 euros a bottle, it is actually a bad wine. Basically, it is the most expensive bad wine there is. To make good wine, you need good quality air and a large amount of sun, and those are two things that Paris is lacking. Sacré-Cœur, in contrast to the Gothic churches of the Middle Ages like Notre Dame, has a style that is inspired by churches such as St. Sophia in Constantinople and San Marco in Venice. Sacré-Cœur is a Roman Catholic church located at the summit of Montmartre, the highest point in the city of Paris. The top of the hill of Montmartre, where the church now stands, has been a sacred site since pagan times. The Arc de Triomphe is a large celebratory arch in the center of Paris. It is situated in the middle of a roundabout where a dozen roads meet at the west end of the Champs-Élysées. The arch's design was inspired by a Roman arch. It measures 50 meters high and 35 by 15 meters wide and has a rooftop terrace offering wonderful views. The arch opening is so big that a biplane was able to safely fly through it 3 weeks after World War I ended. The Arc de Triomphe was designed in 1806 on the orders of Emperor Napoleon. It was designed to honor those who had died in the Napoleonic Wars and French Revolutionary Wars. The Musée de l'Orangerie is an art gallery of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings. Monet's Water Lily series is showcased in this museum. The other highlights of the museum are paintings from Cézanne, Renoir, Picasso, Matisse. Musée Rodin is a museum that was opened in 1919 and is dedicated to the works of French sculptor Auguste Rodin. Rodin used the Hotel Byron as his workshop from 1908 and donated his entire collection of sculptures and paintings on the condition that they turn the buildings into a museum dedicated to his works. Musée Rodin contains most of Rodin's significant creations, including The Thinker, The Kiss, and The Gates of Hell. Many of his sculptures are displayed in the museum's gardens. Musée d'Orsay is a national museum on the left bank of the Seine, opposite the Louvre and facing towards the river. It is housed in a grand railway station, Gare d'Orsay, constructed for the 1900 World Fair. But fairly soon the platforms became too short for the much longer trains, and in 1939 the Gare d'Orsay was out of use as a train station. Over time it was used as a parking lot, as a shooting stand, as a theater location, and even as a reception center for prisoners of war. In 1970, permission was granted to demolish the station, but the Minister for Cultural Affairs ruled against plans to build a new hotel there, and in 1977 the French government decided to convert the station to a museum. Finally, in 1986, the museum was ready to receive its exhibits. It took 6 months to install the 2,000 or so paintings, 600 sculptures, and other works. Notre Dame is located on the Paris island called Ile de la Cité, which concentrated the power attributes of France between the 4th and the 14th century. The Twin Towers go as high as 69 meters, 387 steps. Best time to visit the Notre Dame Cathedral is early in the morning between Tuesday and Friday. The morning of May 15th is the conclusion of our tour. Included in the French Connection 2019 is 6 nights at the Le Grand Hotel and tours, breakfast daily at Le Grand Hotel and tours, train travel in the Loire Valley to our selected chateaux and gardens, entrance to our chateaux and gardens, high-speed rail transportation from Tours back to Paris, taxi transportation from Montparnasse station to our hotel in Paris, a wonderful 3-hour dinner cruise on the St. Martin Canal and Seine River, transportation in Paris to our selected monuments and museums and gardens, entrance to our selected Paris monuments. The French Connection Tour 2019 is 11 nights, 10 days, runs from May 4th to May 15th, 2019. Price is based on double occupancy, and rooms have twin or double beds depending on preference. And the price is set at $3,500 for this trip.